Today's filmmaking tip is a continuation of the series that I've done over the last couple of weeks on what's worth it to pay when it comes to access and information and resources, and what are some free things. And so today we're going to focus on the free stuff. So very exciting. And there's the good news is there's a lot of free stuff. In fact, that's also the bad news. There's so much free stuff, and it can be hard to kind of filter out what's good, what's bad, and that's a lot of just trial and error. But these are some things that I recommend following. Some of them are tied to pay stuff. So, like for example, on various Substacks, you might be able to follow for free and see certain posts, but then a bulk of the newsletters or information or things like that, you have to subscribe. And, that's, I guess, the way they get you. But it's definitely worth anything that's free. Is definitely worth it to check out, at the very least. And here are some things that I have found that even in the free stuff, it's so valuable, the information and the people that they're introducing and the concepts that they're talking about, even though they kind of want you to sign up for the paid stuff. The free stuff is not just a constant commercial for the paid stuff. The free stuff is actually worth it. So a few organizations that always make their stuff freely available: Seed and Spark, an incredible crowdfunding platform. Anti-Gravity Academy has been doing a lot of free panels, which are so informative and amazing. Humanitas, I just attended a panel that they did, which was free and great. Mara McCann does a lot of different informational stuff. I've met a lot of people through her community, and she does kind of a combination of free and paid stuff, but the free stuff is always absolutely worth it. The paid stuff is worth it too, but you'll get something out of her free things. YouTube, obviously, there's a ton of stuff on YouTube. I'm not gonna name specific handles, but what I want is for you guys to post in the comments, like, what are some of the free things, the free channels. Same with Instagram. So many different inspirational people to follow that are just kind of freely giving advice, which I love, and I try to follow everybody. So drop handles in of people that you think are really giving valuable stuff out there. Some websites that I highly recommend: obviously Studio Binder, No Film School. The Film Collaborative has a lot of free information. They're a great resource. They're really like the only nonprofit distribution model out there. They're doing incredible stuff, and the people associated with it, like John Rice, are also doing incredible things, so follow them. Ted Hope, obviously, a champion of independent cinema. He's got a Substack and a website and is always putting out gems of information. Let's see, Dear Producer, also doing amazing things, giving out great information. Kinema, a new distribution model for indie filmmakers. They're also giving out a lot of great information and partnering with Seed and Spark. And, again, please, if you know of something, drop it in the comments. But one of the things that I was really struck by was I had never gone to Sundance until this past year, because the badges were so outrageously expensive. And in my experience, aside from a couple of local film festivals that I've gone to, my experience at big festivals and medium-sized festivals and even small festivals is that you have to have a badge in order to access any of the information. And what I was amazed by was that all of Sundance's programming, with the panels and then all the satellite, partners that are doing programming, all of that was free. And all you had to do was kind of RSVP in advance and then stand in line for an hour or two. But But the fact that it was free, I mean, yes, you have to pay to get there and a place to stay and all that stuff. But the fact that the information was free, I thought was incredible. And I truly hope that as they move to Colorado, Sundance keeps that model, because it's extraordinary that one of the top festivals in the world is making their information and their access to these people freely available, and is really something that I think is one of the biggest secrets that nobody ever talks about. That you don't need a badge to go to Sundance. So go. You know, it's in Boulder this year. I'm gonna try and make it myself in January. So anyways, those are some free things that I've been attending. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, but again, if you know of something, drop it in the comments to share with people, because obviously I'm a big fan of free information. I don't particularly like gatekeeping. I understand the need for valuing things, and ultimately that is like I said, it's one of the good and the bad things, is that on the one hand, it's overwhelming how many people are out there with incredible stories and information, and on, you know, again, it can make you feel like, oh God, there's so much competition and there's so many people out there, like how am I even going to find my own place? And so it can be overwhelming. I know when I went to Sundance in January as a planner and, you know, nervous about figuring out how to do it, I reached out to everybody that I know. I got on like 5 different WhatsApp groups that each had like over 1,000 members on it. And by the time I was leaving for Sundance, I was like, oh my God, I need to stop. I need to mute all notifications and just go and be there and just figure it out. Because trying to plan in that volume of information was just too much. On the other hand, you're not alone. You know, you are not alone. There are so many of us out there striving at different levels. People are open and accessible and eager. Film sets by nature are training grounds, because you're always kind of moving up in your department. So we need new people, we need old people, we need, you know, or experienced people. We need all of the above. So, you know, if you're feeling overwhelmed about navigating all of this, again, hopefully try and take the message that there are a lot of us out here. You're not alone. You can find somebody. If you don't have a community locally, there's a huge online community that you can connect with. And people are pretty amazing in that way. And you know, it is important to connect with your community, because ultimately, if you do want to be competitive and find your voice, you're going to have to be able to navigate the fact that there are a lot of people, and all those labs and workshops and film schools and things that people do pay for. You know, every year there's a new crop of finalists. Every year there's a new crop of semifinalists. You know, every year there are just more people graduating and more people adding to this pool of competition. And so, you know, it's important to just kind of stay focused on what it is that you can offer, and then finding the people that you connect with. Good luck.